So what do you think then, guys? The original Final Fantasy VII here, looking pretty darn nifty. I've got a few mods installed, as you can see. We've got new character models right across the board. Right now you can see Cloud, but that extends to all of the character models. We've got updated menus and even icons for the items. And we've got character portraits that are now HD and crisp. And of course we've got these widescreen field backgrounds which look absolutely stunning. We've got advanced lighting so we can have day and night cycles. What else have we got? 60 frames per second in battles. By the way, the original battles were only 15 frames per second, so big difference there. The FMVs have been revamped. There's a load of stuff here which I'm going to show you. But the main thing is we now have voice acting. Yes, actual voice acting. And not just during the main story beats, but every single line of dialogue in the game is now fully voiced. And this is thanks to a recently released mod known as Echo S from Suna Mods and the Suna Mods team, and a lot of people doing voice recordings. So yeah, listen to this. This is just a random NPC you would normally never talk to.
Nice village, isn't it? We've been in business here a long time.
That's not true.
Are you connected with this village?
Guess not. Born and raised here. I lived here until I was 14, and I don't remember you.
It's not nice to lie!
Like, it just completely revamps the experience. So how do you get all this set up? Well, it's a lot easier than you might expect it to be. You just need to own an original copy of Final Fantasy VII. Now, I'm using the Steam version, which I guess a lot of you will be as well. But if you have other versions of Final Fantasy VII, as long as you can run it on your PC, then you should be able to use the mod manager, which we're going to use, which is known as Seventh Heaven. So let's go ahead and close the game down. Okay, you can see I've got Seventh Heaven here. I will leave a link to this in the description of this video, along with any other links that are going to be relevant for today. When we first open Seventh Heaven, you're not going to have all these mods installed that I've got, and I know there's a lot of them, but don't be overwhelmed, okay? I'm going to break it down. It's going to be really simple for you guys. Once you first open the mod manager, make sure Final Fantasy VII is already installed, and then when you open Seventh Heaven for the first time, it should do all of the hard work for you. It will detect your FF7 installation, set up the required folders. You don't need to do anything. You won't even see it happening. It does it all behind the scenes. The only thing you'll need to do to get started is head over to settings here, go to general settings, and then make sure that you check for updates for both Seventh Heaven and the FFNX. This is a dedicated driver that will allow you to mod the game. So on both of these, make sure you select check for updates. I'm using the stable releases, but there is also beta releases for both if you wish to try those. If you had any issues with the stable release, then you could try those. But for me, the stable releases have been absolutely fine. You will have all of this stuff that I've got here as well. I have not added this. I've not messed with this. Same as the options here. I have not changed these. So these are the default options. Now, once you've done that, there are a couple of optional settings before you install mods that you may want to play about with. So if we head down to settings game driver, this won't open if you haven't done what I just told you. But assuming you've done that, select game driver here. And you can change the settings to whatever you want for your game mode. Now, I've just kept them at these settings right here, and that works absolutely fine. You can enable the cheats if you want. So these are similar to the Steam hacks where you can have speed increases or disable battles. Once you've done that, you can actually click play and start FF7, even though no mods will be downloaded yet, and you'll be able to open and play the game normally. In fact, one thing I recommend is every time you download and set up a new mod, that you play the game again, just to make sure it's still working. You don't download and set up all the mods together, because then if the game doesn't load or if it crashes, you won't know what the culprit is. So just do these mods one at a time, but these are tried and tested mods, so you shouldn't have any issues with them. So getting the mods is also very simple. For you, you will have a blank section here. Okay, I've obviously got the mods installed. What you want to do is head over to Browse Catalog, and here you've got a list of all the mods you can download, and you want to start by copying the mods I've got here. Okay, so the first one, which is Cosmo Memory, we'll type it into the search box in the Browse Catalog. Cosmo Memory, there it is. All you need to do is either double click it to download it, or hit the download button here. It will show the progress of the download down here, And then once it's downloaded, it will automatically bring it over into the My Mods tab, as it has done for me. So there's a link in the description to a forum thread on the Kim forums with the recommended mod list. So that's basically all of these. So you can go and check that out if you want, or you can just pause this video and see my mod list here. Now, a couple of things to note before we set these mods up. First of all, the order you have them here is really important, because some mods will do similar features like enhancing field backgrounds, for example, and we don't want both mods doing the same thing because that would mess things up. The way this works, this mod manager works, is that mods that are on the top will be loaded first. Now, I've got this one turned off, and that's because this is an optional mod. The same with the one above, Cosmic Limit Break. Both of these will enhance the field backgrounds. Okay, now you have a choice. The unified field textures will enhance the field backgrounds whilst retaining the original square aspect ratio, whereas Cosmos Limit Break will enhance the field backgrounds but also give you full widescreen support as well. So that's probably what you're going to want. But if for whatever reason you wanted to play in the original aspect ratio, then don't download Cosmic Limit Break. Instead, download the SYW Unified Fields texture. So now let's go ahead and set these up. And there's not a lot to do here. As I said, this process is super easy. So we'll start with Cosmo Memory. Okay, and the only things that you really need to care about here are making sure that menu sounds are set to your preference. I think for most of us, that's going to be the updated vanilla option. And then voiced attacks, we want to make sure this is disabled. Okay, so effectively what this will do is give grunts and other sounds to your party members as they are attacking in battle. But because there is a feature already built into the Echo S mod where there's going to be voice dialogue in battles, we don't want these conflicting. So disable this option. And then you can just change the other options to your convenience, whatever you prefer. So field ambience is what I have enabled. So if I just open FF7, you can hear that. You can hear like the birds tweeting and stuff. That's the field ambience. So it's a nice feature. And whilst I'm here as well, let me just show you that you can also have footsteps. So you can just go through, enable the features that you want. Okay, so next up we have the RVOC ESUI mod. And before you try and change the settings here, just make sure that you have enhanced stock UI installed and enabled as well. And you can now go down the list here and just change things to your preference. So this will change the menus, the battle menus, getting them looking a lot more crisp or a lot more slimline, depending on what you want. So there's little things here like you can enable or disable the XP bar. Maybe some people don't like that. So yeah, you can have that option. You can change how field text boxes appear. So you can have them full or you can have them transparent, which is what I like, or you can turn them off entirely. So again, just go through the list, change things to whatever it is you would prefer. And again, you can change things for battle as well. So I like the optimized UI version 2. But again, you can fiddle about with that to your choosing. And then next up, the enhanced stock UI. Just keep all of this on the default settings. Okay, we're really only running this because it's the base mod needed to support the RVOC ESUI. Oh, by the way, on the RVOC mod, make sure you change your controller buttons depending on if you are even using a controller first of all, as I am, and if so, what controller that is. So I'm using a PS5 controller, so I want the PlayStation buttons here. Oh, and by the way, if you want to know how you can set up your controller, then this isn't a mod you need to download. If you go into the settings of the base interface for 7th Heaven and just choose controls, you can play about here with the controller system that you want to use. So for me, I'm using this option here, the default Steam keyboard and PlayStation with the swapping of the buttons. And just to show you in game, if I head over to the config controller, you can see we've got the actual PlayStation icons appearing in the menu. And it's not just here either. It's all over the game where normally you'd get these horrific page down buttons and stuff showing up, and like you'll be trying to stop the huge materia on the train later on and you won't have a clue what controller buttons to press because of how it's presented in game. All of that's fixed just by using this mod manager. So next up, this is where I have Echo S7 situated, okay? And you can go ahead and change a number of settings in this. It's not just about voice acting. We have the day-night cycle, which I like to keep enabled. I think it looks awesome. I recommend using FF7 as your music remaster mod as well. Keep that enabled, and that's because some of the voice dialogue, especially in cutscenes, it's actually been timed to the music, and it works best if you have FF7 controlling that music. So keep this enabled. Battle lines, I keep this on 25% so that you're not getting spammed with the battle dialogue, but having it from time to time does add a nice bit of immersion into the experience. Next up, Cosmos FMV 30 FPS. As you can tell by the name, this increases the cutscene FPS from 15 to 30. This is the pre-rendered FMV cutscenes. And the only thing I change here is making sure to use the Nino-style chibis. Basically, they retain the original Final Fantasy VII style character models in cutscenes, but just look fantastic in their high-resolution form. Next up, 60, 30 FPS gameplay. All you need to do is make sure that full 60 FPS is enabled. This goes a long way to improving your experience. Under advanced field animation, I keep the Nino-style HD animation selected, and then field mode, FPS 6, keep that disabled. Okay, shouldn't need to use that. Nino-style battle, download it, get it installed here. Don't even need to open the settings. That's absolutely fine. It will update the character models in battle for you automatically. Same with the next one, the battle textures mod here from Suna Mods. Download it, install it. Just make sure it's enabled, which it should be by default, so no settings to adjust there. Axl Rose's Blender version 1. This is going to fix a lot of the lighting issues that Final Fantasy VII has. So all you need to do again is download and install this. It's only got one option, which is to turn on. So make sure it's on in the options. Other than that, nothing to do. And then Nino Style Chibi. So you do get a few options here. It's recommended you enable this option here, Lazzaro's upgrade, so keep that turned on. But the next one here, Efreet's little work, keep that disabled. Dynamic Weapons Beta, I keep that turned off. You will need another mod if you want to use this, called the Dynamic Weapons Fix mod. What that will do is show the weapons your characters use, such as the Buster Sword, on the back of the character when they're in the field. But you can also go ahead and change the models for some of the vehicles as well. So no change, we'll just keep the original field model for the buggy. We've got the original colours, but revamped here into HD. And then we have the alternate colours, Nino style, which is what I like. But you can also go for the truck, so some pretty cool options here. And you can do that for all the other vehicles as well. So if we just head out of Nibelheim to the world map here. There we go, you can see we've got the revamped buggy in the new colours as well. Which, yay, I think it looks cool. So it's nice to have these updates here for all of the vehicles in the game. Okay, next up we've got Cosmos Limit Break. So this will revamp all of the field backgrounds, but in a widescreen format. So I've already mentioned that. Just make sure it's set to the 16:9 format here. That's pretty much all I've done. And then in the second option, choose the recommended option. So 99% animated fields. If you have an older computer or you get a lot of slowdown, then you might want to select the light option. And then the final three mods here, nothing really to change in the settings, just download them and get them installed. So most importantly, as I mentioned, make sure your mods are listed in this order. You've got some arrows on the side so that you can adjust the order if need be. And then when you're ready to play again, just hit the play button up here. But the reason I love these specific mods is because, yes, they remaster and fully revamp the game for our modern day sensibilities, but they retain the charm and the style of the original Final Fantasy VII that we all fell in love with. When you think that Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth are really big at the minute, and we've got Crisis Core Reunion, and we've got just the general legacy of the original FF7, it's such a big game, even in our current year, that I think Square have just left money on the table, not putting a bit of effort into giving us a remaster similar to this. I mean, they can't now. Nothing they put out for FF7 is going to match what the fans have been able to do here. But I think this is fantastic. I think all the mod authors deserve a good pat on the back. So make sure to show them some love. Links again are in the description so you can set yourself up with Final Fantasy VII to have it running as awesome as I have right here. And especially with the Echo S voice acting mod. So Don't know when you're watching this, but from my perspective, I'm going to wish you a happy Christmas and a very happy 2025, which is just a few days away. So take care, everyone, and I'll see you soon.